Hello, hello. Welcome to Late Night. My name is Nate. I'm here with my good friend Michaela, and I'm so excited to be here casting some Pokemon. How are you doing, Michaela?
I am doing stellar. Not Stellar Crown, though. We are in the Shrouded Fable meta.
Not yet, but soon.
Very close.
And there are even some people perhaps getting ready for that with our decks here.
I think a lot of people are getting very excited for the ability to have 8 Pokemon on their bench. So look out for who we have in the top cut today that's thinking ahead.
Yes, there's some exciting deck choices. There's a lot more Charizard than I was expecting to see today.
I mean, you gotta love a good Charizard deck. And this, everyone said after Shrouded Fable it was going to be the deck. And then that didn't happen at all. So maybe it was delayed.
Yes, we are here on the EU wave of Late Night 201. Back at it for the new season.
That's exciting.
There is the NA wave later on tonight, which will be casted by our wonderful friends Koopa and Yubel.
That's true, and I believe that's maybe around 12 p.m. Eastern time. If you are Eastern time, ballpark around that number, maybe a little sooner depending on the rounds. Although we're here today for our EU European players.
Yes.
We've got a good mix of people from all over in this one.
Yeah, how many Europeans do we have? Let's see. Let's find out.
We have 16 people in Top Cut. I see at least 10 different countries. We've got somebody from Germany, 2 people from Germany, and
2 from Germany, 1 from the Netherlands, 1 from Poland are our European representatives, it seems like.
Where's that Polish player? Oh, I see them. Yep, good chunk. And then outside of Europe, we have some visitors from America, Mexico, Canada, and Taiwan, and Japan. So it truly is a global game.
But right now, our top 16 competitors are getting all ready and streaming for us so we can see the wonderful games.
Yeah, anything particularly spicy in top 16 that you're seeing?
I am excited to see this Palkia list, which I hope we get to take a look at. It is just Palkia and Dusclops, and that's seemingly it.
Ooh, there's 1 copy of Blood Moon Ursaluna.
Right.
But that's you're right. Palkia is that main attacker. And this deck's been going around in a couple of different forms. I've seen people tweeting lists where it's Greninja instead of Palkia, or it's maybe not Chen Pao, but there's an Ogerpon in there, the Wellspring one. But whichever version you're using, this water-type core combo of deal a lot of damage with Dusknoir, and then slam out from nowhere, 3 energy, and drop Radiant Greninja. That's extremely powerful early game.
Yep, it has always been strong, and it continues to be strong.
True. We haven't seen it for maybe a year or so. Most folks have switched to different deck archetypes since Palkia's complete dominance right when it dropped at Astral Radiance. So looking forward to seeing if she's got it back, I'd say.
Yeah, it's always an interesting little wave of people running Manaphy, people cutting Manaphy, people running it again, and these types of quick Greninja attacks working or not working, dependent.
Maybe that's why they keep putting all these on the water type Pokemon. They've acknowledged the wave.
Okay, let's see if we can hop into one of these games real quick.
Got a good selection to pick from.
1 second. Here we are. Okay. So we are joining on Callie's perspective.
This is Callie Moore from Canada. Previously did pretty well this year at Peoria and New Orleans NAIC. So interesting choice here to play Ancient Box. Callie playing. This is Ancient Box versus Charizard.
Let me get on the right window here. 1 second.
Hold up. Have you seen this Charizard list?
I have not. Lay it on me.
There's a Luxray in there from Paldean Fates, the one that you drop down to get extra prizes. So that means there has to be 2 reversal energy. That's
okay.
I haven't seen that yet. What else do you power up with the reversal energy? Maybe Dusknoir? It's got to be Justice Luxray, right? Yeah, okay. So they're there for Luxray, but there's 2 of them. I guess you could use it as a last-minute pivot. Like there's a copy of Pidgeotto from Mew. I say Mew. I mean 151. No, that has free retreat. There's no reason to attach that to retreat. This is really interesting.
This is Nosenes from Japan, and these Japanese lists tend to have some perhaps perplexing choices given our knowledge of deck building over here. But I'm very interested to see how it runs out here. The Ancient Box versus Charizard is not that great for Ancient Box.
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge problem in the early turns of giving them so much room to set up their attackers because you just have to get everything in the discard to knock out even one Charizard. So you're spending the early games gusting support, and there's a Lumineon to grab, but you're going to be really vulnerable to uh, maybe a Dust Noir board wipe if you don't get enough basics out, or if there's a single Charizard just taking attack after attack after attack, you have to keep chaining attackers, and you can run out a lot sooner than they do.
Yeah, but this is just about the best setup you could hope for on Nosinus' side.
Yeah. Oh, the TM Evo. So you attach that, you evolve, you retreat. That's just textbook. That's beautiful.
They have the Charmeleon set up on the bench now, perhaps going into Pidgeotto even.
Yeah, I mean that's an unusual choice in the world of rare candy, but I mean thinking through it for a moment, it's easier to Arvin. Well, it's not easy. I mean, if you know you're going second, you know you're going to get the Charmeleon and that. How many rare candy? There's 4 rare candy. I guess it gives you more outs to get your Buddy Poffin off of the Arvin, so you have a bigger bench setup. It's interesting.
So we'll see what Callie can put together here.
I mean, I didn't see how many energy were in that discard. It's just the one. That's unusual because you could have used Greninja there, put one down, and then dropped Sada. I guess the play is they wanted to make sure they had one in hand so that they could attach it and maybe retreat off the Prime Catcher.
Mm-hmm.
I can see how that would be the thought process there.
But not a lot of ways to get ancient cards into the discard with this hand.
No, there's just enough to take a KO on the Pidgeotto. Is that worth it?
It might be what you have to settle for.
I mean, if you're mathing this out, you know whichever Charmander you get, whether it's the evolved one, Charmeleon, or the Charmander, you're gonna face another Charizard next turn. But if you're lucky, that's a 1-card hand. What are the odds that you knock out the Pidgeotto and it's not a Professor's Research? We're running pretty tight on the timeline too, so
yeah.
Decisions have got to be made very quickly. Oh, there's no Professor's Research in this list, excuse me. It's 3 Iono. And an unfair stamp. It's
a lot of Charizard's been playing the stamp recently.
Yeah. I remember the days when it was all max belt all the time.
You see Callie kind of trying to decide as well. It's a hard decision to make. She chooses the Charmeleon to take out.
All right. It's not the worst idea. I mean, one less Charizard in play is one less big, impossible to knock out dragon on your field.
I like this decision as well, too. So assuming that a Pidgeot is coming regardless, this now you can't quick search for both the Charizard and the rare candy in this case.
Correct.
So you're hoping that they miss the one half that they need. We'll see if Nosinus even has anything. So they do have the Pidgeot in hand. But this one card has to either be Candy or Charizard if you're trying to go into Charizard today.
I mean, they had a turn off the Arvin to grab something else. I think they pulled a Buddy Poffin.
I think it was Poffin and the TM Evo.
So they didn't get a candy. It would have had to be in their opening hand. I don't know if I like those odds. We might be seeing a quick search for a supporter.
Mm-hmm. Which gives Callie one more turn.
That's true. And that's a pretty decent hand for Ancient Box because you have outs to go grab some stuff in the discard with the Explorer's Guidance and you get your second Roaring Moon in play. That
okay.
Was unfair.
There's still a chance with these 5 cards now.
Oh, I don't like that hand personally. Because if you get KO'd here, you need to draw the absolute miracle hands off of that Explorer's Guidance.
And the Charizard player also gets to flip the script, so there's 7 chances here.
That's an impressive amount of draw. Is it enough?
It really goes to show you just how powerful Pidgeot is.
Here's Arvin. Really goes to show you how powerful shuffle your opponent to 2 immediately is. Ancient Box can't afford not to take that KO though, so it's not really like a counterplay scenario where maybe you hold off. You definitely got to be aggressive.
Mm-hmm. Now Nosinus has all of the options available with this Ultra Ball. It can go get the Charizard. We have the candy from the Arvin, and we're getting ready and rip-raring for the races here.
We lost that second reversal energy and the Radiant Zard, but you can pull that back up. Here's the candy. Pidgeotto's got the evolved Pidgeot EX, has that free retreat still. This could be a slaughter.
Now, with this Roaring Moon going into the discard, I believe that is the 4th ancient card only in the discard for Callie. Vengeance Fletching going to do 130, which is not even nearly half of Charizard's 330 health.
What do you mean 130? That's 110.
Oh, sorry. It did 120 last turn. So +1 will be 130. I had my math wrong.
You said there were 4.
That was the part that was wrong. It did. I'm pretty sure it did 120 last turn.
Okay, I think this is salvageable. This is not the worst Explorer's Guidance because you could grab the Pokestop and maybe get something off the Pokestop. I don't expect to see an attack here.
No.
Unless Callie somehow has a dark patch that I don't know about. You see the debate about that?
In Ancient Box, yeah.
What do you think? Where do you weigh in?
I think there's not room.
Now that's 100% true. But what if?
What if?
It's fun.
It does let you take a turn off of Sada, which sometimes you need to do.
Yeah. Probably not going to see a Super Red play. Everything is an ancient. You need all those in there. It's never fun to... But I mean, we already saw the Explorers, so we can't research this turn. It's never fun to research away a Super Rod. We pass back to Nose Mess.
Who's just... It's so set up.
I mean, this is brutality. Maybe in 2 turns, this is almost a board wipe in progress. Because let's say Dusknoir takes out Greninja. You knock out the Moon this turn. Callie is left with nothing but a single Fluttermane.
Even gets to Turo the fish away.
It's so clean. This is a masterclass.
Gets the Turo back. Maybe going to pick up a Pheasantipity later. Or a damaged Charizard to keep that going. I think the timer is ticking for Callie in this game.
There's that Greninja. Bye-bye, birdie. This may be a very important prize card, and you could get a Sada off of that. That's helpful.
That would mean an attack this turn. This upcoming turn.
It doesn't prevent Nose and Nest from absolutely cleaning the board.
But again, it's going to need to be a 2-hit KO on the Charizard. And with Turo's scenario back in the deck now, you can always quick search for that and just fully heal.
The only problem with that plan is that there's no backup Charmander on the bench. But we do know that they've run Luxray, so it almost doesn't matter. Well, actually, it still matters because you're ahead.
They're not going to be behind on prizes, yeah. Pokestop first. Get some items.
That was a sharp Pokestop. That's very, very good.
One more ancient card in the discard as well.
Pokestop also thins to get that Sada off the gear. There we go. Now all we need is to get some kind of basic. Beautiful, beautiful. Callie can save this. $220. It's enough for a Pheasantipity. Although if you take the Pheasantipity out, then the Luxray comes into play.
But also you have counter catchers, right? I'm saying the prime catcher was used on that first turn. Mm-hmm. Counter catcher is active. If the Pheasantipity is taken out, though, that then puts the Luxray on. They'd be behind in prizes.
Exactly. This might be actually the best time to do the 2-hit KO on the Charizard, because if they were to... Well, never mind, that's not happening. But if they were to take this 2-hit KO, they can't Turo their only attacker away while Luxray's offline. So this is a bit of a 2 paths branching out scenario. I don't disagree with knocking out the Pheasantipity either. Consider it's a free 2-prizer. It means the next 1-hit KO you get, maybe on the Pidgeot, is enough to do it.
Callie deciding on a Super Rod here, sending Greninja back into the deck.
Mm-hmm. And you know why they kept the 1 Darkness Energy in there, right? It's that superior energy retrieval, making sure the option's available. Very smart play. It's extraordinarily easy to forget that when you're playing this deck.
Finds the
Granted,
fourth
we did
moon
not
from the
have
prizes
that.
as well. That's very important.
No kidding. Even with Night Stretcher, running out of moons is so easy. But then they come back, you know, they wax and wane. What is...
Trying to set up a Pidgeot attack? So this is setting up for a future turn where you Turo Charizard and attack with the Pidgeot, I guess.
No, it's this turn because this is the turn where you're behind on prizes. So Defiance Band triggers, so you can take the full 140 instead, or you do 150 damage, but it takes out the whole 140 health. I think you have to attack with Pidgeot this turn. That Iono is really brutal. I mean, that is just foul. Callie has been getting stomped on this whole game and just clicking it out. I hope she makes it.
This is a rough top deck draw, though. Pokestop has to hit a gear, I think, which it does.
Okay, and the vessel, that's good. You needed both. I mean...
We hit for 220 last turn, so if 11 ancient cards, which is a big ask, can be sent to the discard, we could one-shot this Charizard.
Oh, no. Ooh.
Whiff on the gear.
I think the only option left here is to Vessel. You know what? This was a mistake because she should have Vessel before she used the gear to pull out 2 energy. That was a misplay. You gotta thin your deck.
Callie trying to think through all of her options. But there's not a lot of actions to be taken at this point.
You pull up the moon. You put the moon on the bench. Ooh, hovering that concede button. That's rough. That's rough. I think there's still technically an out, though, if you top deck well. I think it's worth testing.
Great. There is still a world where you one-shot a 2-prizer next turn.
Correct.
It's a kind of a slim chance, but you do have a chance.
It's never zero. Probably conserve the bundle. There's no point in putting it down, and if it gets shuffled back with Iono, it's on the bottom of the deck. Opponent is... And the good thing about this play is even if Pidgeotto Quick Search Gust Effect the one on the bench, you still have the ability to top deck that Sada. So it's not hopeless no matter what this Pidgeot player is, pulls out of the deck.
Bumping the Pokestop makes it a little harder still.
I mean, Nelson S is playing this perfectly.
Cutting off as many options as possible. Removing liabilities from their bench. This has been textbook.
This top deck is the most critical card of the game for Callie. Oh, it's a gear.
Still a chance. Oh,
I hate to see it.
With that, no Sada available this turn, which means no attack this turn.
Rip.
Which means no Sinnes takes the game, moves on.
That was some very sharp Charizard play.
Let's find another one to hop into as well.
Oh, look at all their friends. I wish I had that many friends.
Wonderful. Let's go check on Calvin Connor.
Cal Connor, come.
Okay. So jumping in, the sort of opening turns of this game.
Okay, Cal is up 1 in this best of 3 set. So.
Oh, I did forget that it's best of 3.
Right. Yeah, we're abandoning Callie's game. Sorry, Callie. This is a Charizard mirror. What is Thornton doing in there? Oh, it's for Dusknoir, isn't it? Good stuff. We're getting a full look at the entire deck list. Very blinged out. And we're right in progress of the setup, which seems, to my trained eye, quite good.
Seems pretty okay for both sides. That's true.
I mean, Hero's Cape instead of the reset stamp is at least a nice twist.
The 430 health Charizard is just so hard to deal with.
And like you just wish you brought a Lost Vacuum every time. It makes it hard when you're tech building to go, I don't need it. I don't need it. And then you need it just one time. And all of a sudden every deck you have is full of Lost Vacuum. Ooh, that's the 70 HP Bidoof. That's notable.
Teching perhaps against some Regidrago Dragapult action.
I would suspect so. Although I think the 70 HP art is simply cuter. This could be a style play. It's not, but it could be. That's all that matters. No attack. That's rough considering this is turn 2. It's nice to get the lead, and being behind 6-5 is not a good place to be either.
Ooh.
Ooh. Never mind.
Okay.
Game.
Back to Callie.
Universe gave us a little do-over there.
Well, just a quick peek at the Charizard action happening at the other tables.
Yeah.
Like we said, there's a lot of Charizard going around. So,
Kid. This setup looks pretty good. We've got Wake in the front, which means pretty good retreat. It's not as good as Flutter Mane, but it's not as bad as Koraidon. Koraidon, I don't like in this deck, but some people do.
Yeah, there seem to be two different trains of thoughts completely, as whether it's Koraidon versus Walking Wake. And it changes the deck building slightly. Usually the Koraidon builds are running the drum instead of the secret box.
I've also seen them run a single fighting energy, which I think is a bad choice. But that's me. I'm biased.
Sometimes you need the primordial beatdown to happen.
Right, but with the Walking Wake, you could make that another dark energy, and that could have made a difference. If you need, if one's prize, if there's a vessel, and you need to thin the deck. I mean, you can still do it with fighting. So, props on being extra. This is a good setup, at least. We've got Asada getting the full 2 energy count. There's no Charmander across the field. You never want to see that as the Zard player.
Yeah, notably, this is a way worse setup for Nosenes.
You know, that makes the Luxray make a ton more sense now. You have a bad turn 1. You don't get any Charmander. Turn 2, you're already on the back foot. Bam, there goes Luxray. Now you have an attacker.
Using the bundle here, you're either going to take out the Duskull or the Pidgey, because there wasn't enough ancient cards in the discard to fully take out the Rotom yet.
And it's not worth just chip damaging because you get Turo'd.
Yeah.
You know, it's the waste of a turn. Promoting Duskull is definitely the right choice here because that Duskull, you know, you were going to give up prize to it anyway. No harm done. You give up the Pidgey, that's a potential attacker right there, as we saw last game. Granted, I don't think you could charge up that Pidgey in a turn because reversal energy doesn't work on it. There is a single copy of Double Turbo, so there's a world here where Pidgeot comes into play, Double Turbo goes down, maybe a Gust is the minus 20 from the. No, you can't KO anything because the Defiance Band with the Double Turbo only adds a net 10.
Yeah.
And even if you got rid of the Ancient Box tool, you still can't get KO. I think maybe you could do a chip damage setup where you use Super Rod, get Duskull back out, and do 50 to a damage thing. For the most part, this is not going to be a good attack. You definitely want to use the Lux right here. Although it won't KO this Roaring Moon. It'll just do a lot.
With the stamp as well, this is a good setup now for an SNS.
Yep. And now I get it. Now I want Luxray in my Charizard.
It's kind of the ideal setup, given that the initial setup was not the best.
No, that was... that is what the kids call foul. That's a bird joke.
Look at that.
I don't think you could get Iono into a better hand playing this deck.
It's the extremely fair stamp was played from Nosenet there. Nest Ball has to search out a Charmander at this point.
Yeah, I mean, there's just not. Lumineon. We still haven't seen the supporter?
Right.
My goodness.
So it might just be the boss to actually KO with the Luxray this turn. Well, it looks like Arv instead.
I guess maybe Buddy Puffin get a second Charmander and
just either take the chip damage or take a turn off from attacking isn't the worst thing as a Charizard.
Oh, Defiance Band. Defiance Band would do it.
Right. Okay, yeah, perfect. Of course.
Yeah. I'd be tempted if it were me to use like a counter catcher here, because one more tool in the discard means one more ancient plus 10 the attack. But I don't disagree with this either.
There's 210 damage from the wild charge of Luxray. Gonna knock out the one Roaring Moon, but we have one set up here and Asada in hand. Yeah, like 170 was the total damage there. We'll see how much we can get up to this turn.
Random hunch, I think Luxray will get knocked out. Or if there's any kind of prime catcher activity. Ooh, where's the rest of the moons? Whiff on the Nest Ball. That's unfortunate.
There's two in the discard, so one is prized. Yeah.
Although now Nelson S knows that there wasn't a fourth one. Not that changes anything.
The Night Stretcher is an incredible new tool that Ancient Box gets.
Oh, I love playing Ancient Box before Ancient Stretcher. Or not Ancient Stretcher, before Night Stretcher. After Night Stretcher, whole different deck. Beautiful. We've finally gotten Revitalizer back, except it's for one at a time, and it's not for grass types.
So hitting up to 200 now with the Vengeance Fletching. We'll see what the prize card is. It is the fourth moon. That's big. Having access to all of your attackers is always very good.
Yeah, I think Callie's roaring through this game. And this is a direct opposite to the one we just watched. So good stream redemption arc.
That's why these best of three cuts. There's always a chance.
How are we at on time for them? I think they've got a pretty good chunk of time to get through the whole thing. Oh, there's no time limit. Beautiful. They should be, well, at least there's none on Limitless. I think they should.
I think that's correct.
Yes. Unlike classic tournament rules.
We do get the Charizard this turn.
What is it with dark type attackers that take 2 energy to use? It's crazy. It's going around.
Seems pretty powerful.
Would you say it's goated with the song?
It might just be.
Quirked up with a little bit of swag.
That's depending on the Pokemon. I don't know.
That's true. Getsis hits the discard, and by Getsis I mean Boss's orders. Getsis was banned. But his orders were not, and so they enter the discard pile off that Pokestop.
I do like that art quite a lot.
Oh, it's the best one. I mean, there's a lot of good ones. But he's just so menacing. Giovanni doesn't look menacing. Cyrus sort of looks a little menacing. Getsis looks like he could hurt you.
Pheasantipity once again hitting the bench to draw 3 cards with his Flip the Script ability.
That script is flipped. But did it do anything?
But unlike last game, Nosenes has not been able to remove these liabilities from his board. So we could see Callie start to target those 2 prizers with a little bit of health. Vengeance Fletching is already at 200 at least, so it can one-shot most of these 2 prizers.
Taking a quick look at Callie's deck list, I don't know what gust outs we have here. There's 2 counter catcher, but they won't be live, and there's a prime catcher. I don't see any boss. I don't think there's any gust options available.
Have we prime catchered yet this game?
I'm willing to be proven wrong. I don't think I saw it. Remember when we were going through the Nest Ball looking for the fourth moon?
Sure.
I don't think it's in there. Have you been proven wrong, though? Oh, there's one of those liabilities gone. Rotom is out.
taking the Forest Seal Stone and that fire energy with it.
Yeah, that fire energy is actually, it's kind of debatable there. Do you get rid of the one that can retreat, or do you get rid of the one that doesn't discard the energy? But getting rid of the one that discards the energy means it's available for a super ride play later if you know your deck is low and you're about to evolve into a Charizard. So, there's some differing opinions, but I think that was the right move. Especially because Rotom, you're never going to use it again.
Right.
Minion, maybe you could tour it up and use it again.
210 at the start of the turn. We can discard quite a few Ancients here.
Oh, there's Catcher. I was wrong.
Gets the Pokestop, gets 2 more Ancients, plus 3 from the Explorer's Guidance, so we're at 240. The option to Ultra Ball away some more.
Retrieval.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What this play doesn't allow Callie to do is start setting up a second moon, though.
Well, there's a moon in hand.
But no energy. Oh, yeah, you can Superior, right.
Yeah, I think the Superior was correct. As much as it would be fun to get the Pokestop as insurance for Iono, you'd need to have a Superior Energy Retrieval with that many energy to discard. I mean, 4 and 2 attached is like the entire energy board. That was definitely a close call.
$250. Perhaps hoping to get 280 this turn, but looks like I don't think there's a way.
So the attachment of the Dark to the Roaring Moon there makes it so now the Prime Catcher is impossible to play this turn.
Right, because you can't retreat out of it.
Exactly. Now this Iono, or not Iono, this Palpad is an Iono proofing measure. It's so great. They shuffle you to your Sada, so like you can't mess it up. But I don't know if I agree with that. I kind of wanted to see an attachment to the Walking Wake, and then you retreat the Wake, and then you knock out either the Serendipity or the Lumineon, because then now you have another turn to take 1-hit KO attack range on a Charizard, which I think this deck can hit. That play would have required you to take the Pokestop, though, and I see why Callie wouldn't. There's just two different schools of thought.
Yeah.
You wish you had the best of both.
I want to see what Nosenes can do on this turn.
Who knows? An S.
Hopefully they do.
You know, it's a miracle they let me out of the house every day. Are we gonna get Tour Play? No, we're not. Not unless there's some sort of stadium bump flux rate nonsense. I think we're just gonna take the damage on this Zard.
A little scary.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in that position. Because now you're on a really even playing field with Callie and the lead in terms of who's attacking. But it's doable.
And it's a quick
we can see something.
Prime Catcher up a fish and the game's over.
Well, there'll be no Prime Catchering the fish right now.
That's a pretty good 4 for Callie. There's Burning Darkness, 240, going to take out the Roaring Moon. Draw one more prize card for Nosenes, but is kind of accepting that this Charizard is going to get knocked out.
And we have our last moon. Nope, there's a Night Stretcher. Oh, that's right. We got the fourth one out. It's been shuffled. I guess we could have nest balled for it, but then you have 3 moons on the bench.
So this now puts Nosenes in a pretty rough situation.
Mm-hmm. You need to attack. I mean, let's say you pull out a Radiant Charizard here, because that's a reasonable move. You have 3 2-prize liabilities that are all likely to be in range. Yeah, I think this is pretty strongly in Callie's favor here.
Now, we do have to find the Prime Catcher again, which has been Iona'd back into the deck, but it got shuffled right there. We're drawing quite a few cards.
Hmm.
Considering playing the Wake to not get Iono'd back into the deck.
Wow. I would never have thought of that because you've got a whole other bench liability there. But no, that's a really good idea.
And at this point, we're not worrying about one-shotting the Charizard because we can one-shot any of the other 2 prizers. So 2 moons powered up for Callie. I don't know what Nosenes can do to kind of wiggle out of this situation here.
I'm trying to think of the path. Let's say you Iono, and you Iono to 2. You've got to get through 3. I mean, you need at least 3 turns. Radiant Charizard can help, but you get gusted once in those 3 turns, and the game's over. It's so narrow, and I just don't see it. I don't see it happening.
We see the Iono, 2 cards.
Stacked. Yeah, I mean, this is everything that Nosenes has to do, and I don't know if it'll be enough because that's a research.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that's the good stuff. Deck out's not a viable win option here either. There's enough ways to pull energy back out and enough 1-cost retreaters. I don't see it happening. Be cute though.
I think it goes back to the opening setup that Nosenes was not able to get set up this game.
Mm-hmm.
Went with the Luxray attack, which, got that 1 prize, but it was so long until there was a Charizard up and attacking.
Yeah, Luxray saved this game though. It wasn't enough. I think the Turo on the turn with the damage Zard would have done it, but there was so much needed to have in that turn as well. Okay, we're going for the stall play.
Leave a 1 prizer in the active, but this research most likely hits a prime catcher. Yep.
There it is. GG, no re, except there is a re. We're playing game 3.
1-1 here. Now Charizard gets to pick first or second in game 3, which is a pretty big benefit, I would say.
Yeah, I expect we'll see going second.
That turn 1 Arvin or the Buddy Puffin, get that full setup like it was in game 1. But we will have to see.
Look at those Hawaii sleeves.
They look great.
Oh, it was a fantastic year in Honolulu this year. Now we go to California.
Good old Anaheim.
No kidding. You on the road to Worlds this year, Asmo?
I haven't quite decided. It's still early on.
Top 125 with fewer NA regionals than I think I've seen in a decade is going to be a hard sell.
It's a hard ask for sure.
Mm-hmm. Every single one of those is going to count. I mean, that's also because there's, 4 regionals and 1 North American championships, and the best finish limit is 5. But I think people have talked about they're adding additional ones in North America, so that'll be good for us. Then again, this is the European late night stream.
This is not the start that we really wanted to see from Nosenes. They did pick first, but opening the fish is never what you want to see.
No. At least there was a Buddy Poffin.
Buddy Poffin and Nest Ball, so it is a decent setup.
Okay, yeah. I think we'll see a Rotom off this Nest Ball. Could be another Charmander.
And taking a look at Callie's side as well, it's going to be kind of up to the draws whether or not a turn 1 attack can happen.
Yeah, that Pokestop is going to be carrying. There is a Sada though. That's kind of like the whole.
It's half of what you need. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we need to find the moon as well, and a way to get the energy. I guess the retreat can get the energy into the discard.
Okay, sequencing here. This is an opinion question. Would you have used the Pokegear before using the Pokestop?
Early on, I feel like it's fine to stop first. You don't mind if you hit your supporters since you have the Sada in hand already.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a good learning opportunity. When you think about what are your two options, if you gear first, you're preventing yourself from discarding Sadas, or maybe not, and you're conserving any other kind of resource so that you're more likely to get the energy in the discard. But at the same time, it's so early, you're going to be holding that supporter for several turns, whereas you might have wanted to hold the gear and have better chances to the other supporters later on down the line, because you're not going to get Iono this early unless there's a dead hand.
Callie is Sadaing kind of not the best Sada you can hope for onto a Flutter main, but just to get the draws to try to set up a little bit more. Still not finding the Moon or the Greninja. It's not looking too great.
That is not ideal. And putting the energy on the Flutter main, that's another choice you have to make, because if you put on the Walking Wake, you have a guaranteed retreat. If you put it on the Flutter main, you still have to attach energy to Walking Wake. Considering that it's there to be a wall, though, I don't see any issues. And having 190 HP is just enough to survive a Charizard. So,
it is huge. Yep.
Yep. Walking Wake is definitely the correct promote. I mean, you might be tempted to put up the Flutter main so that if they switch in their Charizard, they have to do it after they use the ability from the bench. But I think this is correct. Also, this is the best time to have a bad turn 1 versus this deck, because there's no Duskull out that can capitalize.
Yeah.
And also, it's frankly super important to have that second bench Pokemon, because if you get board wiped, that's it. Good night, Roaring Moon.
Big Bird shows up again. And there is a lot of worlds where Charizard can't get an attack off here, but having the Pidgeot makes it a lot easier.
Yep. Charizard getting 3 fire energy I think something's wrong with that, in the same format where Palkia can do that once.
It's a little crazy that it takes 2 to attack and you get 3.
Back in my day, before inflation took over,
we attached energies one by one.
We thought Vikavolt was fast. Do you remember that? That was a lightning and a grass energy on a stage 2.
I don't. I can't say I do.
In a format where everyone was using big basics, it just did not happen. I mean, people love that deck though. That was a good era.
So perhaps quit searching for the Arven here. Often and a stone, which can go on that fish. We expect to see some of the Duskulls start appearing. And the Manaphy's, interesting.
I mean, Manaphy doesn't really block anything, so It's there to thin the deck. But it's also taking up a bench space. You could put a Pheasantipity there.
Curious.
Interesting. Yeah. You know what? There's an argument there where you drop a Collapse Stadium, get rid of the fish, and you could only do that if the Manaphy was down. So it's got to be there for Collapse Stadium.
Sure. I wasn't counting Ancients yet, but I don't even know if Vengeance Fletching hits 170 yet. Assuming that a Moon appears, yeah.
We've had a couple of Earthen Vessels and then some supporters, but I don't think we're close.
It does mean this Manaphy is here for the rest of the game, which I guess is fine. It's never going to get targeted.
Turo, it's not here for the rest of the game. It just most likely is here for the rest of the game.
I don't know if Turo's looking into the Manaphy very often. Yeah, this is really rough from Kelly.
Okay, this is interesting. Let's say you promote the Flutter main. Quick Search is now offline. What is your order of operations from there?
I mean, you can Hex Hurl here, right? That's an option.
Exactly. And if we get you can't Hex Hurl because you can't retreat unless you somehow play a Sada. Right. Yeah. So no Hex Hurl this turn. But if you put Flutter main active, then you can't just retreat into Charizard. You can't just retreat into Charizard because you put it active and it can't use its ability. But you need the quick search to search for the Charizard.
An extremely odd kind of standoff here where no one's attacking. But I have to assume it benefits the Charizard player.
I'd say it's mutual. They're both sort of looking at boards that are not ready to go. I mean, like, half of this Ancient Box deck is just water types. At least from what's on the field. Actually, 3/4 of this field is water types.
Right. We haven't even seen a Roaring Moon yet.
I haven't seen Fractions, so I think that's even. Here's the quick search. Unencumbered. There's no Flutter Mane blocking it. We'll probably get a Charizard. Don't need the candy, so... But it still can't take a one-hit KO because of the Walking Wake 190 HP. Before Walking Wake came out, since it had one retreat, and that was kind of supposed to be the benefit, people were using Scream Tail, which could not have survived an attack like this. So Walking Wake coming out was a sneaky buff to Ancient Box. Very nice. It does exactly one thing for Ancient Box, and it's this.
It does it pretty okay, I would say.
Yeah, I don't know. Cursed Blast. Well, so much for that 180 HP thing, because now you can definitely knock it out. Okay, nice stretcher. You always like to have that in hand. Here's our Charizard. She's been shy.
Something to be said about the strength of taking prizes mid-turn like that as well, that you get a prize card and then get to continue your turn.
It's so unusual. And you're right. You could just get a random resource out of there. But it changed the way, at least for me, that I thought about how turn order should go. You could almost argue it's like an instant speed card, borrowing the terminology from other card games. And Pokemon does not have a ton of those.
It's time for Hex Hurling, I believe.
I'm going to Hex Hurl right now. Not really. But if I were the Roaring Moon player, that's how I'd be feeling.
So if that ends up happening, this is 90 damage to the active and then 2 damage counters onto a benched Pokemon.
That's enough to knock out... Actually...
Well, you can split it, actually.
That bypasses Manaphy.
Right.
I had to think about it. It's enough to knock out Manaphy, but if you're doing Hex Hurl, you're knocking out that Charmander on the bench for sure. And this is rare that this ever comes up, but I do believe it gets through Charizard's Terra effect.
Since it's putting damage counters on?
Correct. The difference between damage and damage counters is not intuitive.
We finally have our first moon on the bench.
Kind of make an analogy. It's a new moon, because there hasn't been one.
The newest moon there is.
The newest moon that can ever be. Counter catcher. Are we? I guess there's an argument to attack directly into the Charizard as well.
Yeah, it helps the 2-shot with a moon later.
Yeah. You could 2-shot the Pidgeot, and then that's why Iron Bundle is sort of getting hovered over. I think we're going to see either a Manaphy or a Pidgeot promote. Probably the Pidgeot. I mean, Manaphy is pretty useless, but you never want to hand over... What? All right.
Looks like Manaphy isn't on the bench the whole game. Because it's getting knocked out. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, think of it this way. You've got 5 prize cards remaining. Manaphy gives you a 4th. Now you only need 2 prize or KOs. Mm-hmm. If you give the Pidgeot, that requires an extra Gust. It requires 3 2-prize KOs. I don't know if this is the play I would have made. Then again, I didn't make Top Cut. So there's 2 damage counters going on the Pidgeot, making that a little bit easier to one-shot with a Vengeance Fletching. Okay. Callie's eyeing it up, I think, because getting rid of the Pidgeot is always lovely late game. Means no surprise Iono. But given this board state, I don't know if 260 is even happening anytime soon. Right, there has not been a lot of funneling of these ancient cards into the discard since the setup was so rough for so long.
You know what's the biggest lie in this game? Quick
Was it?
search.
Quick
Quick
search?
search takes forever.
It's not that
You have to
quick.
go through your entire deck. You have to think about every possible opportunity. Like you're going through like 5-dimensional chess. That's not gonna be quick.
But immediate. It's not really the same. It doesn't hit the same like a medium length search.
Decent quantity of time search does not fit onto the card.
Minute long.
Leisurely search.
Yeah.
So that Iono was pretty decent. You've got a gear, so you can come back. You've got a second moon, so you can have attackers.
You have a gear, but there is a Sada on the bottom of the deck, and we've used 2 or 3 already. I think 2.
You could use the Ultra Ball to discard the Fluttermane and whatever the top deck is to get around that. Ooh, never mind. If with the Sada on the bottom of the deck, this is the perfect time to Pokestop. That's very good. Oh, the only problem is what do you discard off the Ultra Ball? The second gear?
It must be, yeah.
I don't know if I like benching that moon there because if you had it in hand, you could have discarded it. Oh.
200 is not very much. So first gear fails. You're kind of stuck into the second gear now with a shuffled deck.
This is rough. Oh, never punished.
But we're still not quite hitting the 260 that we need.
I'm sorry, that was a miracle, right? Can we acknowledge that?
Hitting the Sada on the 2 gears?
Yeah, I'm sitting here going, one of them's on the bottom of the deck.
The first one shuffles the deck, though.
Deck. Sure. But I guess 2 out of 15 is not that bad.
Yeah, even so, we are not hitting the full... We can't knock out the Pidgeot this turn. We're only at 210. Mm-hmm. So it's going to have to hope to be a 2-shot on the Charizard, which I guess was maybe going to happen anyway.
Mm-hmm. But now you're in
lets Turo
range.
Happen. Yeah.
Which is why if you'd used the counter catcher on the Charmander instead of the bundle, then you wouldn't have to worry about the Turo play because then there'd be a Radiant Zard or something else instead. The Radiant Zard couldn't operate right now, so it'd have to be Luxray, and they'd have to be behind, and they wouldn't be behind.
You have a 210 Vengeance Fletching onto the Charizard.
It's getting close. It's pretty close. I think if I had to point in a direction and say who's probably taking it in terms of momentum right now, Nociness, they have to get a really good end game, but I think Nociness could take this from where it's sitting here. Are you a Cali believer?
It's harder and harder to be at this point.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some great rescues. I mean, Cali has done so well this entire set, coming from a horrible position and making it playable. Like that is a skill that takes time to learn. Cali's doing it.
And that is the strength of a single prize deck like this, is that you do have time.
Mm-hmm. Time's like the premium currency this format, I'd say, with so many people running turbo lists. There's that Iono.
Getting 6 knockouts takes a long time.
Ooh. You know, another thing, too, of the double gear play, now there's 2 less gear in the deck.
Yeah, you can't Pokestop into 1.
Yeah.
That would have been the same, because you were discarding it with the...
Well, no, because when you get...
If you left the moon in hand, sure.
If the moon was in hand, yeah, then it's different. But with that hand, you're correct. It would have been gone anyway. Because who's going to discard their Prime Catcher? I mean, it could have been correct. But who's going to discard their Prime Catcher? Even if it's correct, you're not going to see that play right away.
So Nociness trying to set up more damage counters from the Duskull line. The math isn't that great, unfortunately, against the Roaring Moons. There's only 13 counters from Dusknoir and only 5 from Dusclops. You need both of them to knock out something.
Yeah, I don't see where the Dusknoir is going to really do it, but it is going to prevent dropping down Greninja, which further limits draw options. So maybe it's just a subtle threat.
So we swap into the fresh Charizard. We are not Turoing yet, but we do have this full 330 health.
That's pretty good. If you can't Turo, that's just as good. We'll be able to Night Stretcher up in energy, but will this cover it? Okay. We could Vessel.
It
Actually,
still is up to the
all the energy might be
Pokestop, right?
discarded. Yeah, I don't think there's 5 energy discard. I don't think there's any energy deck. Maybe there's one.
People tend to run 7.
Yeah, this is on 7. I think numerically crunching the math, you can run a deck with 6 energy and be fine. Like, there's plenty of versions of Ancient Box that have tried 6 and not really suffered because of how much different kinds of ways there are to pull them back. But 7 is, I would say, pretty safe. Like, 6 is numerically doable. 5, you start getting into giving yourself bad math. 7, that 7th energy is kind of like a comfort pick. I think it's maybe an extra 5% odds. I can't remember the math.
We're shuffling 3 energy back in to get with this Vessel.
Bye-bye, Fluttermane. Ooh.
Now
What do we have to work with here?
1 Sada, 1 Explorers in deck.
That is not a safe Pokestop.
We're going to draw 2 with concealed cards first.
I don't know if I like that. I mean, I know you need to set up to get your next turn, but you know, this turn, all Nose Nest needs to do is drop a Dusknoir, knock out the Greninja, game's over.
And we are still just short of. You can maybe research into Prime Catcher. No, that doesn't work either. A really rough start here, a rough turn for Callie, it seems like.
You can only put back 1 Sada too because you need those in the discard. Oh.
Yeah. Having to chip away at your own damage to get the consistency back.
You have to YOLO for the Prime Catcher. Or there's a Counter Catcher. It's a Counter Catcher, okay. It's still not enough to get... You could use the Vessel to get enough to kill Pidgeot here.
240, 260, yeah. Just barely.
This path has got to be so hard. And if you get Iono next turn... Woo.
You're stopping.
Okay.
Pokemon Search. This I think this line is still contingent on they can't Turo up that weakened Charizard, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So next turn, the deck is thin, the catcher's in there. You could maybe thin it with the Ultra Ball, like just kind of like discard your own hand so that an Iono play won't wreck your house. I don't know if I would. This is like the decision making here is so dependent on what's that one last card in Nosenes's hand.
Nest balling, we are thinning out. The problem with thinning now is that I don't know if we'll have enough gas left to hit a full 330 with these ancient Pokemon on the bench.
Yeah, and the Walking Wake is now another, Dusknoir target. So, I mean, not that it matters because you have a ready-to-go Charizard.
We're at 270, which knocking out the Pidgeot is huge, obviously.
It's essential. If that hand was not prepared for this outcome, we could be seeing a momentum shift.
But now this fresh Charizard, we would need 6 more Ancients. -1, assume the moon gets knocked out. Unfair stamp.
That's why I was talking about the Ultra Ball thinning down your hand, because now you've got this stuff you can't use. And you can't Pokestop for Asada.
Because the gears are gone.
The other thing about Unfair Stamp is that the Prime Catcher was not one of those top 4 cards. The whole hand got shuffled in. So what would have been a 50% chance draw off an Iono is now a 1 out of, 10 or so. It is 10. It is 10. It's 1 out of 10 shot. Ugh.
Get to flip the script.
That script is not going to stay stable. It is going to get flipped so many times.
It's just continually rotating, yeah.
We're juggling the script.
Pokestop gets a counter catcher. That isn't active, but it's out of the deck at least.
Yeah. Nosenes has a couple of good options here. We're not going to see a Luxray play, but a Radiant Charizard could set you up. to take the game, I'd say. Or, you know, anytime Dusknoir is in the room, you have a good day.
I think perhaps they were looking for a rare candy, maybe to jump into the Dusknoir to win this turn.
Do they have any
Arvin?
left?
I guess that's the
question.
question.
If they do, we'll see. If there's any candy left in that 10-card deck.
They wouldn't have Pokestopped in that case, then.
Well, they could still get the candy, right?
But if you have Arvin, it's guaranteed. If you have a candy, it's just game over. So.
Oh, that's what you're saying. Arvin for an Ultra Ball that's not a candy. We're probably not going to see Dusknoir play. Again, after seeing one earlier.
Burning Darkness for the 5th knockout. This gives Callie one more chance.
What do you promote? I think you have to promote the Walking Wake. Because you can't attack without Sada anyway. And if you need to Prime Catcher...
It doesn't... Yeah, that makes sense. Yep.
Yeah. But you need to get lucky. And that's not what you need to do.
Oh, you know what?
You're right. I mean, you could have done that with the Spear Energy anyway.
Yeah.
So it didn't really matter what you drew.
Double Stretcher. Oh, no.
This is not...
I think that's the game. There's no way more to draw.
Hold on a minute.
There's not a gear left, is there?
I don't think there's a gear left. What if you pull out, and bear with me here, you pull out the Iron Bundle and you stall for a turn? Is that an option? Is that anything? I mean, because nothing has favorite read. I think you could do it. Come on, Callie. There's one out. You could do it. Grab that Iron Bundle. Or discard all your Sada.
No!
Oh, I'm hurting. This isn't good. Is there a Pal Pad left? That might have just cooked the game.
There's usually only one Pal Pad in these lists.
I mean, there used to be two. Because it's technically auto insurance. Don't see. Oh no. I mean, okay. It can still work.
Anosnes sends up a Dust Skull. Which then, if you find the Dusknoir anyway, it's still over.
Yeah. Oh, this is so hard.
Get a free switch off of knocking out your own Pokemon.
I don't know how you recover from this. I mean...
there's a chance that he missed the Dust... there's a chance that Duskull stays in the active this turn.
Even if it does, you deck out faster than your opponent does.
But with a hand of 9 cards? Seems a little unlikely.
The only win out here, and it's definitely still possible, is they pass the turn. Actually, it's actually guaranteed. You're guaranteed to get the Prime Catcher.
Oh, the Turo up the... Okay.
Yeah, no. Because you could have drawn and then the free Pokestop. Oh, that's so rough. Congratulations, Nosenes. Incredible Charizard play.
Yep, taking it. It is, not the greatest matchup for Ancient Box, but Callie keeping it very close to game 3.
I mean, this matchup people have talked about a ton. Some people say it's bad for Roaring Moon. Some people say, oh, there's tons of ways you can give it to Charizard. I come down that it's sort of 50-50. Which is, for Ancient Box, a little unusual. A lot of Ancient Box lists, you feel like you're in the lead the whole time. You can see your path to taking prizes faster because you're the only one running around with 2 prizers. But just the 330 HP is just so many. And we didn't even remember the last game that we poked in very briefly with Cal. There's no Hero's Cape in this. You put a Hero's Cape in there?
Then it could be very rough, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, we are going to take a quick break and then hop back into the next round of cut. Be right back.
See you shortly.
All right, we're hopping over to VC4. Okay, quick cut in 3, 2, 1.
Now, I do believe we are live again with Late Night EU.
Here we are.
Woohoo! Good to see you again, Nate. It's been a long time.
It's been so long, and I'm glad to be back.
Man, I can't believe you left like that. You left me hanging.
Well, we are jumping into round 2 of Top Cut. We have Cal Connor here on the Charizard up against Koiwashi on Gardevoir.
This looks familiar. I've seen this one before.
Yeah, this is this has been played quite a lot in the past.
I'm sorry. Is Kawashi attacking with Monkey Dory?
That is a real attacker, and it happens a lot.
It is a real attacker, but it's unusual.
The
and
Mind
it's also doing
Bend,
less damage than Hex Hurl.
Mind Bend does 60, but it does leave the active Pokemon confused, which can be a struggle. The coin flip.
And it's pretty hard to retreat that Charizard out if you're using Turo, because now you need another rare candy. Where are you going to get the energy back in deck with? I can see it. I can see it. Both players look very well set up. That's always nice to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we missed the opening couple turns here. That last round went late. Taking a look at
that means
the
we've
lists
jumped
here.
straight into the action.
That's true. This is unfair stamp build of Gardevoir. There was always a little bit of consideration between the aroma and the stamp.
Where do you come down on that debate?
I feel like stamp is probably stronger, but it is kind of close. Like, I can see the pros and cons for both. And we did see that confusion being put on this Charizard. We'll see what Cal can do on this turn. Try and deal with that.
Rare candy and Force Seal Stone. Wow. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
The cape on the bird is also quite interesting. That's not getting KO'd anytime soon.
Not even slightly. That's a pretty good defensive play, I have to say. Because now you're not going to be able to, and correct me if I'm wrong on the math here, you're not going to be able to use a Scream Tail with a Lux Cape on it to deal enough damage to knock out that Pidgeot. Right? Because 109,
180 could be the most that you could get on, which would be 360.
Yep. It's not enough. You'd need to do chip damage with Hex Hurl or maybe even Monkey Dory. So you could hypothetically get there. But you have to use everything in your toolbox to do it and create this massive 2-prize liability out of a 1-prizer.
Drifloon with the cape could do it, but Screamtail could not.
Yeah, and a Dusclops could convert that to a positive for you because now you've taken 2 in exchange for 1. We're attaching triple energy. Where's that third one going? Bench Charizard? Yep. Kind of want to just attach that second Forest Seal Stone to something. Just get it out of the way, use your B-Barrel, but that's just clicking what cards are shiny. That's not necessarily using my brain.
And we haven't yet used the V-Star power on Cal's side, so.
True. I mean, you might want to conserve that, but I mean, when you're this far into the game, what V Pokemon or what are you even putting down?
Maybe a fish later. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you're doing that to grab your last boss for the game. You're not doing that for in the middle of the game to enable your V-Star. But you have a good point.
Maybe you need boss and an energy.
I'm just so overwhelmed by the amount of gold bling in this list.
It's
and then
fancy
the one
looking.
Normal Pal Pad.
Yeah. Well, it's the old one. It's like the old foil one.
Oh, it's classy, but it's from a different time.
Burning Darkness 360 with weakness.
It's kind of a strange concept, like darkness burning. What would that even look like? You can't see it because it's not on fire. Fire generates light.
It's dark. You can't see it yet. Koiwashi has a second monkey set up.
I think we're gonna just confuse strats our way through this. How does that work? I mean, you're putting a lot of chip damage. You're forcing them to use their retreat outs, but you're not gonna outstall when you're this far behind, and it's Charizard. So, what's the move?
They are choosing their time to put down the Guardi EX very carefully.
Very much so, because that Dark Weakness makes it a huge liability.
And they've done a lot of setup without the Gardevoir EX, which is surprising.
Cute Tatsugiri. It's my favorite Tatsugiri. I didn't know Tatsugiri was in Gardevoir. When did they start doing that?
There was always this sort of thought. I think that was part of the, or at least a factor in the Aroma versus Stamp debate. That the Aromas...
I thought Tatsugiri grew up supporters.
It does, yeah, but I don't remember exactly. But, right, yeah.
Yeah, all right, I see it. And plus that synergizes very well with Evolution TM. All right. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
There was another Mind Bend and another confused Charizard in the active, but we're not really doing a lot on Koiwashi's side. There was some refinements. We're drawing cards, but as far as getting set up to take prizes later, there is a lot of setup going on.
I don't see any switch. Do you think we're going to get a gamble play? Like, are we going to see a coin flip?
Maybe. It's only 30 damage on a fail, which like isn't the worst thing in the world, but
no, but whiffing that attack is definitely the penalty. I think you could do a manual retreat and attach because there's still a Super Rod in deck. Okay, I think I see the plan. The plan is simple. Pay to retreat, Super Rod the 2 energy back in, and hope you never need more energy in the deck because you've just Super Rodded all of them back in. I don't know if you need to get the mana fee. Probably not. I mean, Screamtail is still a real card, but your bench is so full. When are you going to put down the mana fee? 3 to 6. You really don't want to be in that scenario.
And without really a clear path through as well.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of chip damage around, so maybe we could see some sort of Super Rod, Monkey Dory, out of nowhere KO the Barrel. I don't think it's looking good. Koiwashi has to have a plan. I'm willing to believe that Koiwashi has a plan.
Yeah, I'm ready to see the 10-point string come together.
Yeah, I mean, there are no mistakes. There are only happy little accidents. There's that Super Rod. There's a Monkey Dory.
And a Klefki coming back.
I mean, I don't think Klefki really accomplishes much for you here. But maybe there's some sort of argument to keeping the deck from thinning out too much.
Okay, finally the Gardevoir is here. I was saying it was starting to become harder to use the monkeys because we didn't have damage on ourselves because we weren't using Guardi.
TM Devo? Oh.
Okay, so this will KO. Okay. Well, you can put the damage on there.
3 of them. Yeah. The problem is that'll prepare this Charmander on the bench. Okay. We simply weren't looking. We did not see.
So big Devo turn is going to get 3 prizes at least.
And it will disable that Pidgeot. You know, the one that we couldn't knock out at 380.
Right.
Because now it's down to 160. And you know what? For good measure, you've got Fluttermane active. Because that tool could have gone on anything.
Fluttermane that can continue to perhaps Hex Hurl at the end.
That's right. On a field full of stuff ready to get eaten. I'll tell you what we don't see, though, is we don't see the last 70 damage to knock out that Charizard. I thought we were going to see it sooner. Okay, there it is.
Yeah, we do have both monkeys active. Monkey.
Yeah.
There was an even crazier world where you can use these two monkeys to put 60 on the Pidgey, like if you had the damage on the Charizard already, and then you get 4 prizes with Devo.
You still need to get rid of the Hero's Cape, but you get close.
Oh, right. So here we go. And Devo going to take out 2 of these Charmanders and the Bidoof with the damage that is still on the Pokemon. And actually, it was a Charmeleon under one of them. So you did need the 90 on that one.
And the Super Rod's gone, so you can't Super Rod it back in.
A huge 3-prize turn from Koiwashi. Leaving a lot to be answered for here for Calvin Connor.
There are no accidents.
It did take perhaps, I think, 4 monkeys. Like there were double Super Rod to get monkeys back, but we got there.
Mm-hmm. This Iono is so rough. You only have 3 cards to salvage, though. If that was an Ultra Ball.
Chloe, we do get to flip the script.
That's good. You literally could not come back from this if you couldn't flip the script. And you still have the V-Star tool. We were talking about this earlier. If you can force Sealstone.
If we do still need to find either the Rotom or the fish in that case. And the stone.
You may have wanted to Artisan before that. There's the Charizard.
Finding the Charizard is good. Is there energy in the deck?
Yeah, we saw 1 just get shoveled back in. There should be at least 2. I think there's...
Okay, yep. Infernal Rain taking out both fires here for the Charizard, but then switching into it is another problem.
I mean, you missed energy. What else is in here? Luminion.
2 Boss, 1 Iona, 2 Arven.
True is in hand, I believe.
Yes, that's correct.
You're not getting stuck. I don't see any candy. Yeah, there's 1 candy left. Okay, so you could get Pidgeot back online. It's a shame Counter Catcher's not active because this would be just so disgusting if you could Counter Catcher the Gardevoir, knock it out, go to 1 prize after being Iono to such a small hand. Fezandipity really just does work.
Not a bad recovery though, despite everything.
I mean, that's everything you could ask for.
You get your Charizard back set up, you get a prize still.
And those hexes, they've been hurled.
Rolled straight into the discard.
Thornton? Thornton is sneakily a little bit of a switch card. So that could be useful. Get rid of a liability. Put that Hero's Cape on something else. You never know. Actually, wouldn't that be disgusting if you switched out the Pidgey for a Charmander?
Yeah.
Rare Candy and destroy. Oh, there's no fire energy left. Never mind. I'm living in a hypothetical fantasy world where reality doesn't matter. But aren't we all?
What can Koiwashi cook up here? The Charizard is a large problem that needs to be dealt with.
Yeah. Because whatever you take out, if it's not the Fezandipity, you're expecting to get hit with a pretty big hand. I mean, Cal has win-outs next turn with just 2 prizes left. I think even if you churro up the Gardevoir because of Dusknoir. So you have to keep that in mind here. Who do you KO?
So getting enough damage here to put full 60 from the 2 monkeys. It's going to take out the Duskull, perhaps.
Okay, that's good. And
so there's a world here where we take out the bird, right, with the Screamtail attack.
That would end the game because Screamtail just does it.
But we do need the cape for that to happen.
I mean, we still haven't used Refinement.
And Arven can find a cape.
Brave?
It is the charm, yeah. There's no cape in this list. The charm puts you up to 140, which means you can get to 120. It's 240 damage.
Yep. Charm does it. So brave. So bold.
And at this point,
is there enough energy
plenty
in
of psychic. Well, we'll see, I suppose. There's only 9 cards in deck, so it seems likely.
I mean, it's good odds. But you're going to need every single one of them there. I mean, this is top cut. These are very intelligent players. There's no way they would have missed that.
There's all 6. There's
Right
only
in the 10 range.
seven psychic in the deck, and that one on Gardevoir, so this was exactly enough.
The one on Gardevoir was making me anxious. Because I know you needed it for the monkeys, but you could have put that on the benched Screamtail. I guess not, though. All right, we're getting a game 3.
Alrighty. 3 huge 3-prize turns from Koiwashi after long setup.
Yeah, that was fascinating. I mean, the speed of this game compared to the Ancient Box where it's back and forth. This is everyone waiting. Massive explosion. Interesting games. Oh, server error. We don't like to see that.
We are Koiwashi from Japan and Connor from the US, so there's a little bit of a gap.
Yeah, but you know what's right in the middle of those two?
The ocean.
Europe. The late night Europe.
Oh, yeah, if you go one way,
yeah, if you go the other way. You just go the other way. The ocean in the middle, we're not counting that. You have to go the other way around. Because right now we're in the middle of Top Cut of the late night European series. You can't let me shoehorn in a joke, man.
We do have, I think, 2 Europeans still in, so.
Well, if they're still in, I'm still in.
There's Tiatsi from the Netherlands and Capador Cards from Germany still in this top 8.
Yep. Capador has got a pretty good history in late night series events. A lot of top cuts. A couple wins, even.
We have game
we figured out the server error.
Calvin Connor gets to pick first or second, which can mean a lot here.
What would you take?
Knowing it's stamp, I think first is better, right?
I could see it.
Because with Aroma, the Arven into Aroma is such a huge turn, but
yeah, I think that's also the play for the simple reason that Cal's not playing Evo Charm. So if you go second, you might end up a whole turn behind. Which, given the way that these decks are so explosive in comeback, maybe that's not a problem. But I like to be able to evolve faster than my opponent.
So Cal's going to do some prize checking here. Gets the Rotom Bidoof Pidgey set up. Not bad.
That's sharp. And there's that Charmander. Just living his best life. Could do a whole 30 damage next turn.
I love that art too.
Oh, it's so beautiful. The sequence of 3 cards. Do you remember in the black and white era, and you may not have been playing, but you may have been collecting, the triple legendary treasures Embor with the energy attachment ability, where you could see the Embor growing up with its family from a Tepig to a all the way its older stage, where now the family is like larger.
Yeah, I have seen that. I was not around back in the day, but I have seen those cards.
Yeah. People love that card so much. And I think Pokemon was paying attention.
They kind of did the same with the Gardevoir. That's like part of the family in that one art.
That's true. Gardevoir's done that at least 2 times, I'd say.
So quick turn 1 from Koiwashi, though. Gets the TM Evo after a Poffin to get 2 Curlias on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, you could never complain at a setup like that, particularly when there's no Kyurem on the other side of the field.
Not the absolute best, but still pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I think Cal is going to get very set up here.
I would say so. Don't misclick. Don't misclick. It's one of the worst misclicks you could make in the client. I almost wish they had a different UI so you could see it was a Sealstone, but they do a good job, I'd say, of keeping the two visibly far apart from each other.
Star Alchemy going to get that Pidgeot, Rare Candy into it, and then quick search for...
Most likely for a candy. I mean, that's what I would do.
Having the Ultra Ball in hand to get the Charizard makes a lot of sense.
How many candy are left? Ooh, Buddy Poffin.
Okay, just getting more set up.
Okay, maybe the argument here is you evolve into Charmeleon and then use Charmeleon's attack. That's a... But you need an energy for it. Where are you going to get it?
The great question.
What am I looking at here? Oh, you know what? You could get it off of the barrel. Ultra Ball, grab a barrel.
What are we throwing away here, though? That's the question. Radiant Charizard Nest Ball.
Yeah.
We get to draw 3 looking for an energy. Not the most likely thing.
Mm-hmm. That's actually a really strong defensive play because now you can't just take a random chip damage on a Charizard to set up for the future. You're
Actually
either
not attacking,
putting yourself
using instant
behind
charge instead.
prizes. Ooh, what is this? Okay. We are losing all that instant charge. Like a little static. You know, Iono's supposed to like electric types. Rotom didn't ask for this. First of 2 refinements.
Swapping to Psychic type today.
Klefki. Nice shiny Klefki. Very good. TM
Second Evo
again.
is crazy.
Is this the cook?
This is looking like a very similar game plan from game 2 for Koiwashi.
Mm-hmm.
Just this very long, drawn-out setup. Not putting down the Gardevoir until you absolutely need it.
Interesting.
It's really smart.
This is a really cerebral game, I'd say. You got to do a lot of
Love it.
Thinking ahead. Yeah, very chess-like.
Canning into the Dusk Noir, we do have the Charizard in hand.
Okay, they're attaching 2.
1 to Charmander, 1 to Charizard.
Chat, do we Iono here?
Back-to-back Ionos.
Cape the bird? Not cape the bird. Cape the bird? Cape the bird. Bird has been caped. There's no escape from the bird with the cape.
Not possible. He's too quick with his searching.
What act of heroism did Pidgeot commit? I mean, really? Pidgeot's not a hero.
I mean, he's flying people all around the world all the time.
That's HMO2 that did that. Right? B-Barrel is the real hero here. I mean, look at that housing that he's constructed for the entire neighborhood. Meanwhile, Dustin Noir's over here like, you got any games on your phone?
That's another great set of arts, is those 3.
Oh, it's gorgeous. I mean, if you like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, you're already a fan of Dustin Noir, so it's like, oh, it's your favorite, strange looking ghost type on a really cool card. It's a win for the community everywhere.
So 2 prize turn here from Calvin Connor, taking out the Manaphy and 1 of the Curlios. Getting the counter catcher from the prizes isn't exactly what you want to see. It doesn't feel like you're going to be behind on prizes at all this game until the big swing turn happens.
Yeah. But there hasn't been a whole bunch of Monkey Dory either, so that Devo turn, I don't think it's happening. It does force Cal to play more conservatively. Play-by-play, we're getting a refinement.
Slowly building up our supply of Psychic in the discard.
Discarding the Buddy Poffin when the bench is that thin is an interesting choice.
They've already pulled out the below 70 HP Pokemon. Because they've had all 4 Raltses. They've had a Manaphy.
That deck is still so full. I mean, normally Gardevoir is either drawn the whole deck or they're getting ready to make a big Iono play. This is just sort of like this middle game phase. You don't usually see this deep into the game.
Yeah, and we are quickly running out of Curlias, it seems. Like another one perhaps would be knocked out next turn. The Dust Noir on the Curlia helps a lot.
Here's that unfair stamp. Okay. I don't know if now is the time to make that tempo run when you don't have enough things to start attacking with, but I wouldn't be against it because if you can use Mind Bend, now you're forcing them to switch. Now they have to burn their quick search on it. Now they can't accelerate their game condition any other way. Okay, that was a good combo with the Gardevoir because you need Gardevoir live.
Yeah.
Oh, Thornton's back.
Need Gardevoir both for the self-damage to throw with Adrena Brain, but also to actually make the switch happen.
Mm-hmm. And you needed to retreat that Kirlia, because otherwise you're needing a switch card. And who runs switch cards in the year 2024? Couldn't be me.
Snorlax licking his lips over here.
Snorlax for Baltimore is not the worst idea. A lot of folks in Snorlaxing range.
There is still a Snorlax. I guess a little spoiler, they just lost in top 8, but they made it to top 8.
Oh, they made it to top 8 though. That's what I'm saying.
As Bitamin from Japan also just played against Nosenes, which we just watched.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a 2-0.
How's Nosenes doing?
2-0 for Nosenes over the Snorlax.
All right. Missed energy on the Pidgeot. That's... What does that block?
Hex Hurl.
You know what that blocks?
Hex Hurl
that
damage
blocks,
counters.
It blocks that, but it also blocks Mind Bend.
The confusion part,
Pidgeot, yeah, and it does 120, so you could just keep knocking out the Hunkies. Turo's in.
Calcana running 5 fires and 1 mist in this deck. People are getting so greedy with their Charizard lists.
It is. I tell you this, you would not have seen lists like this 5 years ago. I mean, people would have been like, "What are you doing? Where do you have more energy?" Like the game has just evolved so much so quickly. It's very impressive. It's very impressive the amount of confidence you have to run that few fire energy. I mean, that's not even 2 Charizards worth. I guess it is 2 Charizards worth for attacking.
It's not like 3 at the same time, yeah.
Well, it's not 2 of the full use of the ability twice.
Right. Okay, here's Charizard number 2 getting set up. We have the fire in deck.
Now, not to be a backseat driver here, but I don't know if I agree with that. Because again, you're setting up for the exact same play last time that ended in the TM Devo and closed the game.
Right. I think we are a little... I think we're a turn or 2 ahead of where the game state was last time. Because but then, there hasn't been damage set to throw onto the Charizard.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. What do you... Okay, you get another Charmander. This would be a great time to pull out a Duskull. Really just put the clock down, but I don't disagree with the third Charmander. And also, there's no Duskull in the deck to grab.
Both equally important points.
Monkey Dory is Monkey done with.
Taking out Monkey 1.
Monkey see, Monkey go out of here.
Kind of equally important is removing the darkness energy from play for now. Mm-hmm. There's 3 in the deck for Koiwashi. But having to try to get another monkey and another darkness energy is way more of an ask than just one of the 2.
Let me take a look real quick at their super rod count.
There's 1 rod and 2 stretchers.
Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty good chunk of darkness energy recovery, so it can still be done. But you got to get them out in multiple turns because you can only charge 1 darkness energy per turn. Mm-hmm. Easy to forget when you're playing Gardevoir.
Yeah, used to as much as you want. Suddenly there's a restriction. What are you talking about?
And let's not sleep on the fact that there's a 2 prize liability still in play. You know what would be diabolical? And this would be diabolical. You Thornton, for the Duskull, use the Duskull, and then somehow knock out the Gardevoir same turn and just close the game because you had a Thornton in hand. Like, this is why you would have wanted to hold the candy. Because there's the Ultra Ball.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. I mean, Cal knows what he's doing. But at the same time, I'm just a little curious.
So,
can you blame me for asking questions?
No. Inquisitive minds. want to know.
Hmm.
There's 60 now on the Bibarel. It is the 70 HP Bidoof, right? So
Yep.
that requires another Adrenabrain to get that in range. The problem with Adrenabrain, of course, being that you need to put all of the damage onto one Pokemon. You can't split up the 30.
Mm-hmm. Although a Hex Hurl, I think you can split
Hex Hurl, you can split the two.
Yeah.
Failing the Ultra Ball. Just getting cards out of hand for this Bibarel to draw. Quick search for a Turo. Perhaps throwing this confused Charizard up.
Okay.
Or not yet. Okay, we are attacking with the Pidgeot. I like that plan.
We got the bird. Okay, now we've got another Charizard ready to go as soon as the evolution happens. Okay.
Blustery Wind taking out the monkey.
And now all you need is a single gust effect. This is not easy.
Yeah, and there is not really this chance for a big Devo play anymore. You'd maybe get 2 prizes out of it.
I think you kind of have to, though, because there's just so much oppression on this board. Not to make it any, tougher, but thinking of this path here, you've already used your reset stamp. Iono is not going to stop you if you can't get rid of the Pidgeot. You have all these juicy targets back there. How do you take 5 prizes?
I don't know that you can this turn, but trying to set
Definitely
up...
not this turn.
Yeah, at least removing the quick search option. Because we know that Cal is low on energy, right? They're all in the discard at this point, other than the one on Pidgeot. So needs to find that Super Rod for this manually attached Charizard, or from hand evolution Charizard, to power itself up. It still is kind of asking a lot. The Devo play is not the worst thing in the world. It seems perhaps more and more necessary as the game state has progressed.
I mean, Cal has not been shy about rare candying things to just pull them out of that confusion status, which I don't disagree with at all. I mean, you got to do it. But I kind of wish we'd seen attacks from the Pidgeot earlier so it could just abuse that free retreat to get out of the problem. And especially with the Heroescape, too, that means it's even harder to knock it out with that Devolution play.
Yeah. Pidgey sticks around.
Yeah. Although, if Cal had done that, then Fluttermane could have come out and prevented more Pidgeot attacks? Maybe? Or not Pidgeot attacks, prevented more quick searches.
Mm-hmm.
Which would have made attacking with Pidgeot less useful. Yeah, that's the idea I was trying to express. Chat, how are we feeling about this game? Bibarel is a job creator. I think we've learned quite a lot from chat today. What jobs is Bibarel creating?
We were talking earlier about whether or not the bird was the hero, right? And the Bibarel is the true hero.
No, I believe that. The problem is
he's industrious, right? He's industrious incisors.
He's industrious, so no one else has to be. That's what makes him the hero. Is this stealing his thunder?
But what is industry if not a community coming together and working?
Yeah, I really appreciate this incisive comment. Thank you, Nate.
He's building the dam for someone, you know?
Maybe I should have said, this is a very incisive comment.
A little bit of a stretch, but yeah, you could see it, yeah. What is Koiwashi cooking up today?
I just do not see what the plan is. There's clearly a plan.
3 energy is enough for Hex Hurl.
Sure, but who are you Hex Hurling? And why isn't it the Charmeleon?
So taking out the Bibarel makes the Iono more powerful.
True.
And these two, you put one on the Charmander, one on the Charizard.
Okay, that puts it in range for 2 Monkey Dories to get a little free knockout there.
But now the Pidgeot just comes
So
back
close.
with Blustery Wind.
Thank you, Iono here.
Again, worth noting that we can't quick search with Pidgeot in the active.
Correct. I mean, you could retreat. Like, there's a world where you Iono, you get your Super Rod, you get a Charizard, you're done. But that world is very slim.
Most likely a Pidgeot attack is the more likely of the two outcomes.
But if you get even one of those pieces, then you just retreat the Pidgeot, put up the Charmander, or put on the Charmeleon, use either the tool to search out the Charizard or the Super Rod, and then attach and go.
Flipping the script.
Flipping the script. I would have liked to see and it wouldn't have helped. That was actually correct. I would have liked to see an Artisan to shuffle the Iono, but that wasn't necessary, so ignore me. Yeah, this is the correct play here is to... Ooh. You can't just retreat into the Charizard.
Yeah, I think you're still attacking with Pidgeot. Just makes any knockout next turn the game.
Yeah.
And you now have the fire in the deck, so if you draw the Charizard, you can pull them out.
Mm-hmm.
Infernal Rain.
This is extraordinarily difficult to come back from. I don't see it happening. I mean, this is the correct way to play it, because that Gardevoir has just been sitting around for so long. So the fact that you're living through that is a miracle. But I don't think it's happening. I need to see some sort of incredible, super amazing devolution play here for this game to have any chance for Koiwashi. I don't know if it's happening.
The amount of setup that Cal has been able to do is kind of future-proofing his plan as well.
Cal has gotten the most out of every single card. And, I've doubted. I've been a hater. But he's right. And we should say it.
Yeah, having that fresh Charmeleon on bench so that you don't need the candy anymore for Charizard. Now getting the Super Rod to have the energy back in deck. There's not a whole lot of routes that lead to a whiff from Calvin Connor here.
And the other thing you could do is you can Super Rod back in the Radiant Charizard. So if there is some sort of magical miracle, knocking a bunch of stuff, would you look at that? Look who's coming to visit. It's the giant thing that does 250 damage. And granted, that bench is so full right now, it's hard to figure out, is there going to be enough space to drop down Lumineon for a boss? But I think at least one bench space would open up with a KO here, and that's enough for the Radiant Zard. And I can't imagine not taking the second Charmander KO.
I just saw in chat too that the Mist Energy does stop Devo from the Pidgeot, actually.
Oh, that's clutch. That's clutch.
So there's, I think, nothing
wait a
that can
minute.
be done.
Oh wait, never mind. I'm hallucinating. I thought that wasn't a counter catcher. I thought that was somehow retreating, and that would have made no sense. I would have thought it was like a misclick.
Okay, so
we're going for a boss stall.
Yep. But now Calvin Connor has access to quick search.
This is clever because now you can't evolve that Charmeleon. You need a switch out. But if you use the switch out, you have to put the Charmeleon on this already damaged Charmander. How do you get both?
We've already Turo'd.
Oh, you know what? This is easy. You just need some sort of Thornton into Dusknoir play. Just casually. Because you can't Thornton and Toro, so...
Yeah.
Bummer.
This does a little bit of a wrench in the plans here.
Yeah, and you can't Thornton away the Charmeleon. It's only basics. Oh, that's so clever. That's so smart. This is a galaxy brain play. Like, if you have to delay the turn, this is the only way to do it. Would have been nice to cap this off with a Devo TM as well. And it wouldn't affect the Charmeleon or the Pidgeot, as chat has helpfully noted. But it would get rid of at least one Charmander and get you a little bit closer as compared to a pass. Sadly, there's no V-Star Sealstone anymore, so...
A little sticky situation now.
Yeah, I mean...
You can start manually attaching, but then eventually a Hexerl could just get rid of those energies.
What are you thwarting? Dizard?
What are we replacing here is the question.
And it's not, for some reason... Oh, you know what? That's pretty good, because now the Devo TM play doesn't take another prize, because that was a defensive play. So you attach one to Charmeleon, pass the turn, and now if they don't knock it out...
Yeah, even.
Yeah. Now if they don't knock it out, you have Radiant Charizard ready. If they do knock it out, or if they do knock it out, you have Radiant Charizard ready. If they don't knock it out, you could get the Charmander going. That was good. Not swapping out the Rotom was probably a difficult split, because that's like a free 2 prizes that you could just scream tail for anything, but skip Pheasantipiti's there, so...
About the same?
Yeah, I had to restrain myself within an inch of my life not to say the popular meme word that people use instead of Pheasantipiti's name. I'm this close. I'm on the edge. I can't call it by its real name. It's too hard. Boss's orders?
Second boss.
Oh no! Because the ability's
Fluttermane
blocked.
turns off the ability.
But you can still Turo.
Well, we used our one Turo already. It's not in deck.
Oh no! Well, you could still gust. You could still gust. But then that means you're not getting a energy in hand. Oh no! Are we cooked?
Again, we're retreating.
What is happening?
So we're attacking with Gardevoir this turn. We're knocking out the Radiant Charizard with Gardevoir.
Why? Oh, I see it. You're getting rid of the only out to attach energy that isn't the bird.
Yeah. And we're healing up so that
Gardevoir player's smart. Go ahead.
A one shot from Charizard is not. Oh, we're just not attacking. Even better.
Yeah, I mean we're.
So Combustion Blast is not a knockout on the Gardevoir. It's too much health. We get another turn of putting damage onto the benched Pokemon.
Oh my goodness! I really wish they had Thornton for the Duskull. There's still a rare candy left. We could have had the game over by now, because the Super Rare would have pulled back the Dusknoir. This is
hard decisions all around. There's 5 cards in Koiwashi's decks. There's 7 in Cal's deck.
Oh! What is the play?
This Charizard is ready to attack eventually.
Oh,
and we do get to put energy elsewhere as well.
No, wouldn't it all go there so it could retreat just in case?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, there's boss. It doesn't even matter. Monkey Dory's attack and Adrenabrain.
Adrenabrain is fried our brains.
That they're built different. My brain feels a little cooked, I'll be real. I'm just like, there's so many twists and turns, and like it's 5-dimensional chess playing this matchup. Very high skill. Good stuff.
Cal Connor does take it in 3 games over Koiwashi. Very, very close. Charizard versus Gardevoir.
So close. Like it didn't look close the entire time. I'm like, where are their outs? How are they gonna get out? And then
all right. So we'll take a quick break again and come back with top 4. We got 2 more rounds.
Woo. Numero cuatro.
See you in a bit.
Stuff.
I need to unmute myself. Welcome back. We are here in top 4 of Late Night EU Wave. Oh, hold on one second. There we go. Try again, Michaela, please.
I was muted. You muted me.
I'm
How
so sorry.
dare you?
I'm so sorry. Continue.
Women are being silenced, Nate.
No.
It's okay. We'll forgive you this time. Speaking for the entirety of the female population. We're back for top 4. I'm very much looking forward to some really good games, and we have a pretty good collection in top 4 today. Who are we looking forward to seeing next?
I believe what we have next is Tiatsi versus Alex Hamilton. We get to see our final European rep in the tournament.
Yeah, we've got Raging Bolt versus Lugia. Not exactly the most common matchup this format. I'm into it.
It tends to be Lugia favored, but we'll see how it goes. And they are ready now, so we're going to get right into it.
Send us in.
All right, here we go.
Are we connected? Here we are.
So we do have the perspective of Tiatsi playing the Raging Bolts on turn number 1. Starting the Pheasantipity is not exactly what you want to see.
It's not ideal. I mean, I guess it's at least on the board, but you don't really want that either. You'd be able to just flip the script out of nowhere. I mean, you're not getting immediate turn 1 knocked out, so Lugia is already having a good day because that is a legitimate risk.
Yep. This is
3 energy is 210, 4 is enough to do it.
Perhaps, obviously, it seems as though the Lugia player won the coin flip.
Most likely.
Although they both kind of want the same thing. Lugia likes to go first because then you get to evolve faster, but there is always the chance of just losing your one Lugia if the Raging Bolt goes second.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look at these deck lists. I'm curious to see what kind of setup they're running. Lugia has 3/3 line of Minccino.
It's a pretty classic Lugia list, I'd say. The spice in here, maybe the Iron Bundle, but that's not really spice.
No, people are
on that.
Half of the Lugia world has been cutting down to maybe 2 Minccino.
Mm-hmm.
Some people throwing in things like the Weird Deer V as another attacker, but this one is very classic.
Funny. Oh yeah. No, I remember it starting with Weird Deer V, people abandoning Weird Deer V, and now we're back. So, it's a little ironic. He was there from day 1.
And Raging Bolt looks very kind of standard here. One kind of fun tech card that isn't going to matter so much here, but is the new Slitherwing. Oh no, it's the old Slitherwing, rather. But a Slitherwing to deal with some Iron Thorns if you are running into them.
I mean, Iron Hands is still here. Could be useful.
That's true.
Yeah. The Magneton, or I suppose it has Sandy Shock, is its new name. The past Paradox. It doesn't have the ability to hit for weakness.
Right.
So it's doing nothing for you. So the Slitherwing is the second choice. Harder to charge up, does more damage. It's a good trade-off. Okay, I think we might see a KO here. We've got the Sada. We've got the attachment. I think we just need another Ogre Pawn. Bam. So, Bolt just for security. Second Ogre Pawn to get that grass energy down. And that should leave a board with at least 1 energy on the Raging Bolt so you can keep using Sada. And you know what? Slitherwing is still relevant because that's going to knock out a Minccino Cinccino. So
that is true.
Do
Fighting
Do you want
weakness.
to play it now?
Yeah, it doesn't really. I don't feel like it matters so much when you play it, because if they are targeting that down, they're leaving a Bolt alive.
Exactly. There's some real sequencing happening here because you're searching for the Slithering before you use Teal Dance. Would you rather? Are you looking for something else? Maybe a second Sada?
Looking for Sadas, probably, yeah.
I mean, you already have at least the one. That's an interesting choice to leave a Grass Energy on board.
Yeah, Bellowing Thunder for 280. You're maybe assuming that you might get knocked out. Having the energy safe on the bench can be better.
I guess there's also the argument, too, if this big, massive energy thing comes up, it takes a lot less effort to use Ogerpon to kill it than to use the Raging Bolt.
Mesa goes a flip. Pretty big here.
Tails! No! You don't like to see it. Although,
Never been a fan of Mesa Goza. It always fails you when you need it.
Heads. I think this is a skill issue.
Yeah, it might be. We get the bear down. We get a full new hand from research. Still looking for some Archeops, I think. Tails is not going to find it. And a gentle slap. For 30 damage.
Big oof. Big oof.
Not exactly the turn you want.
Play.
It's going to hit for the Bolt player, of course.
Nope. No deck fitting today. Don't worry. We're saving all the tails for the base Goza and all the heads for the catcher. Don't worry about it. Makes sense.
It's 50-50, so you missed the first one. The second one, it's guaranteed, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's the way that works. A lot of grass energy here.
Yeah, we did find the Sada off the prizes, so that was actually really big for Tiazi.
Ogerpon to the discard to get a fighting type double.
Now, catcher onto Lugia V-Star here would be debilitating.
I mean, that would go crazy. I think that's what's happening. There's 2 chances at it, so 75% odds. I'll take those odds. Just don't misclick.
No backup Lugia and no Archeops sent to the bench yet.
I mean, you don't even have enough on the...
Fail the first one.
Plot armor?
Huge flip here. Yeah.
Nope. No plot armor today. Just some suspense. That has to hurt. Okay. This game is probably over.
This feels a little over.
I mean, never say never. But I think it could be over.
Again, Bellowing Thunder for 280, leaving 1 energy on both bolts. So backup plan in case either one of them gets removed.
I think your only option is to stall something. And you cannot get a second Lugia set up fast enough for this.
Mesa Goza failing again.
That's horrific.
Hasn't done anything yet. Now we can, at the very least, we can attack with Blood Moon Ursaluna, and that's just then hoping that you can't get another Raging Bolt attack off that turn.
And it will take KO, so there's just... Okay, we need that. We literally needed that.
I wanted to.
Oh.
There's lots of draws out here for Tiazi. Legacy, okay, that saves it as well.
That's all right.
Blood Moon from the Bear taking out the first Raging Bolt. But yes, now, chef. Our good friend Pheasantipity is here to flip the script.
Can you imagine the disrespect of just Prime Catcher the turn after Iono to knock out the second Lugia?
Yeah. I mean,
do you flip the script Mesa Goza or Shoes first is the issue?
It's kind of all the same outside of Mesa Goza first.
Yeah, I think Mesa Goza first would have been what I might do, but I don't know. I mean, you're just going for Asada. That's all you need.
Energy retrieval might get us there as well. Because since we have the lightning already. Yeah, it definitely does. Because we have Vessel in hand. Yeah.
Yep. Well, there's no energy in deck, but you have the retrieval, so.
Okay, so then we do need the Sada. Because we're only hitting for 210. Oh, Night Stretcher, though. That's enough, right?
That's enough. I feel like Alex Hamilton is just standing there waiting to see if anything happens, maybe chuckling, haha, I'm in danger. Meanwhile, we're watching the train speed down the tracks directly in his direction.
It's doing like kickflips and stuff too. It's like doing tricks on the yeah.
I mean, they're taking him to the drive-through. He's not going to come back out of there.
Double Teal Dance, Prime Catcher back in the Raging Bolt, manually
so
attach
bad.
the fighting.
This is in real life. You just show the other player the Prime Catcher, they scoop, you go to game 2. Like, this is just painful. In literary terms, we call this dramatic irony. In that you're going to get ironed dramatically out of the game.
Sounds right.
We call this in the industry a Lugia ouch.
Pretty much the best you could have asked for here is Raging Bolt.
Yeah, that was incredible work. I mean, you had to do everything right very quickly. But that's kind of what Raging Bolt does.
And not the best setup from Lugia either, as well.
Come on, Lugia, do a little bit juicier this time. Give us something in the discard.
After coming from the Charizard Gardevoir match into this, it's just such a different world.
Yeah, we've moved into warp speed here. Like, thrown back in my chair. Like, I'm stumbling around blindly in the woods. What year is it? It's like time travel. Although you really can't complain. It's still top 4. You know, no matter what happens, you had a good time.
I like this 2022 Pikachu coin as well.
Oh yeah, from London Worlds, beautiful Worlds that year. That was one of their because that was supposed to be 2020. I remember being so sad when it wasn't. I'm glad they still brought it back because that was one of their best Worlds locations.
So again, Lugia choosing to go second to remove the chance of turn 1 Raging Bolt attack. Didn't go so well last time, but it was the setup end that failed to get there.
That's the other thing about Lugia too. You don't even have to put anything down turn 1. You can just wait. And you know, I realize that stating it that way, I may have not vocalized what I intended to say. When you're playing against Lugia, you don't have to worry about something knocking you out on turn 1. Thank you. I don't know why that took so long.
We got there.
You know,
nice turn 1. Squawk and Seize does get rid of 3 Pokegears.
And Asada. That's intriguing. Like, what are you rushing for?
I'm trying to get energy in discard for the Sada because we didn't have any at that point.
That's
and we
true.
Still don't.
I'm sorry. Did Pokestop just Pokestop and Pokestop?
Yup. Classic. Okay, stop.
Can't stop. Won't stop. Pokestop! That's usual.
Radiant Greninja is prized here, which isn't the best for Raging Bolt because we, as we said, have a problem getting energy into the discard.
And there's no Hisuian Heavy Ball either. Sad.
A little bit of a struggle here for Tiatsi.
We got 2 Raging Bolts, so there's definitely not going to be a struggle to draw, but if that Pokestop gets bumped, there's nothing going on. What are you doing? Why are you putting down the Fizzidipity? Nothing's been knocked out yet.
The next turn.
Next turn, there's just going to be setup.
Avoiding an Iono, perhaps.
It's so early. What are you? Isn't that a good thing? Like you could nest ball the Pheasantipity out at any time.
Heads on the Aroma. Most likely gets an Archeops, doing the initial prize checking here.
Do you think the capturing aroma smells different depending on whether you flip a heads or a tails?
It has to, yeah.
I mean, lore-wise, yeah, I think that has to. But what do you think the two smells are?
I think heads is way more refined. It's like a nice musk, you know, and then tails would be
Maybe
like a sweet, like candy scent.
Okay.
Because basics are like the children, right? And then if evolution Pokemon are more refined, they're mature.
I think it's a loose correlation to age and evolution, because there's definitely Pokemon that are old but don't evolve. Like they had an episode with like a really old Trico that never wanted to evolve. But then they also had an episode with a really old Stoutland that made everybody cry. So like you have to, you know, be around a little longer to evolve. So you're gonna be a little older, but I don't think you have to be.
You certainly would not have refined your palate as a little baby basic, though.
No.
A pretty quick turn from Yahtzee there.
Okay, here we are. Are we getting Archeops this time?
Our pass, we have double Archeops.
Okay, now we can play a game of Pokemon.
And the setup from Yahtzee, again, is still struggling. There's 2 Sadas in the discard with no energy in the discard. No easy ways to get there. 3 gears gone. And not even grass energy in the discard to keep Teal dancing. So full damage Tempest Dive going to take out both the Pokestop and the Teal Mask Ogerpon.
Definitely not good. You can get the energy back and start using the other Teal Dance. I don't think that's enough. You need some out to a lightning energy. Flip the Script is going to have to do some work. All right, you got your script ready? I'm flipping mine.
Vessels will get.
There's the vessel that literally flipped the script. The entire script has rotated.
But even now, it's not. You're using almost all of our energy here to get this KO.
Where are the lightning type? Are they prized? There's none in the discard. There's one in hand? Excuse
Must be.
me. Every Sada is now twice as important.
And there's 3 in the discard.
Ugh.
Let's see. We do have 1 Pal Pad in the list.
This is everything Alex Hamilton wants to see. It's everything TNC doesn't.
We are at least going to get a knockout here, so there's 2 more chances at finding lightning in the prizes.
Exactly. Although Legacy Energy is going to make this prize map a little tricky.
Yes.
You could put the Legacy on the Chinchino and have like just a 0 prize, massive damage attacker. It's ridiculous.
The threat that has to be dealt with.
Yep. And who's got time for Temple of Sinnoh? Other than Reggie Drago.
Definitely don't need that vessel. It's true.
Hasta la Vessel. Hasta la Vesselta? Hasta la Vessel.
La Vessel by itself is the best one, I think.
Okay. Hasta la Vessel. Hasta la Pasta.
Another big knockout, gets 2 prizes, but the Lugia with the gift energy gets to draw a whole more cards.
Slitherwing's back. The prized electric type is back. That's actually incredible off the prize draw.
We can keep setting up Lugias. Keep knocking out Ogerpons. Make it harder and harder to attack. I do love the old items, yeah.
Yeah. Well, getting 2 Archeops, which is the remainder of the Archeops in the discard, that's chef's kiss.
Okay, so we're going to attack with our special roll here for the knockout this turn. That leaves us another Primal Turbo to start powering up the next attacker. Just a single gift onto the bear.
It is a gift. Okay. This is extraordinarily difficult to fix.
Yeah, the Cinccino has to go because it can knock out any of your 2 prizers. But at the same time, then Bear is going to come back with 240. Do we have any... No charms for Tiazi.
Yeah. We need a Sada so we can use the Slitherwing. So we can hope that nobody gets gusted. But even if you do that, you still need 2 more KOs.
Yep. And there's 4 bosses in this Lugia deck.
Oh. So rough.
And there's only 1 Sada left in the deck, if it even is there. It might be in prizes. But there's 3 in the discard. We haven't found our pal pad yet.
We still have a script to flip. Which is weird. I thought we flipped the script.
Script, I think, needs to be rewritten in this game, not flipped.
There it is. There's the re-rig. The season was canceled. Not enough funding.
So that is now 1-1. I believe for the first time, Raging Bolt is going to go second this game. If I had to guess. For a very important game 3 here in top 4 of the late night.
No kidding. The stakes are so strong. This is to advance to finals.
To win the prize of fighting a Charizard in finals.
Well, a Charizard, but it's not just the prize of Charizard. I do believe there are some prizes. First place is 20 codes.
All sorts of code cards. And there's some sort of point structure for these late nights as well.
Ah, there
I don't
we
know
are.
exactly what it is, but...
Well, no, go ahead. You've hit onto the key point of the season is that this is the opening event for Season 10 of the late night. And at the end, when you get to the Invitational, you could earn Ultimate Guard prize packs.
Yeah, so we have our turn 1 here from Lugia. Starting the Minccino is pretty okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it.
It doesn't leave a Lugia stranded in the active, which, that would be what Raging Bolt loves to see.
Mm-hmm. And with the Sada in hand and the Pokestop access, there's a pretty strong chance of that turn 1 attack being enough.
And Raging Bolt is very good at knocking out whatever is active. It's a little bit harder to kind of target the bench. Did you have the 1 prime catcher, 1 boss usually, but you need to Sada to get the attack off. So it's up to the coin flips for the catchers.
With their 2 different smells. That's just funny to me.
Lots of coin flipping in this matchup, certainly.
Yeah. Do you think the coin on PTCG Live is rigged?
No, it can't be.
Are you sure?
Probability is just very hard to intuit as a human.
It is, in fact. No, I remember people were just convinced, and would put down solid stakes for it that the PTCGO coin was rigged. I can't remember the number of times I would try to explain how probability works, and just get back, no, it doesn't. It just always lands on tails. Years later, with all this insight, I can officially tell you they were right. It always lands on tails.
Dang. Hate to see it.
I know. You hate to see it.
We got 2 nest balls here for Tiazi. And the Greninja is in deck this time, which is huge.
Yeah, for once. 2 nest balls is a very good turn 1.
Concealing away that lightning energy to allow it to be sodded back on.
That's a fantastic draw, because now the sequencing there was that you could have drawn another basic off of the Greninja, but it doesn't matter because you got another Sada that's going to make the Pokestop even stronger.
We kind of do need to find a vessel on this stop to attack this turn.
Ooh.
Don't hit.
We still.
Oh,
have
you
a
can hit it
chance.
with the Sada draw, sure.
Yeah.
You try to capture one of the Lugias to get 2 prizes instead?
I don't know if I would have captured. I mean, it didn't work, but it doesn't affect your draw rate. I would have held it.
Okay, we'll see what we get off of these 3 cards. That is not enough to do it on this turn.
No,
we're gonna take a
you
turn
can't even
off.
Ultra Ball for Pheasantipity. There's no scripts to flip.
We'll get another Ogre Pawn here. Or we get the bird again.
I would go for the Ogre Pawn, personally. No Squawkabilly is unfortunate. Like, this is prime Squawkabilly hours.
Yeah.
You gotta unlock to get the Squawk.
The Squawk has been locked away for the rest of the set.
We need to Squawk in.
So a turn off from attacking here. Gives Lugia some time to get set up. It wasn't the best turn 1. But now we have access to things like Professor's Research or an Iono if we really need to put a Legacy Energy back into the deck or something like that.
It's a pretty even game state here. We have nobody attacking, but we have plenty of 2 prize liabilities to pick from. So
there's 1 Archeops in the discard.
There's the second one searched out. There it is.
Second one, and we get the Lugia V-Star, so this is equal setup. This is exactly what Lugia wants to see.
Absolutely, and probably that last card is like a Professor's or something. Just maybe even an Iono. Doesn't matter. It's going to be good. I can tell. Just know these things.
No, it's the Cinchino that we need to... Yeah, see?
Ah!
So now we get the free knockout on the Raging Bolt.
Ta-da!
So Raging Bolt going to be playing from behind here in this game. But it was smart of them to put that 1 energy on the benched one to keep it safe.
Because they weren't going to use Burst Roar. That would have done nothing. Except maybe get some energy, but...
The problem now is there are still a lot of draws that are do nothing here for Raging Bolt.
What do you promote? I mean, you definitely want that Prime Catcher to knock out a 2 prize threat here so you don't get so far behind. But...
Anything but Raging Bolt? Well, we'll see.
Nope, there it is.
That's a great draw.
That is fantastic.
We still need a lot to happen here, though. Just because we haven't found our energy. It's just not in the discard for us to Sada yet. No grass to Teal Dance. Even though we have the energy retrieval and the Sadas, we just don't have the critical mass of energies that we need.
It's just unfortunate there's no ancient grass types. Because you have the ancient... The one that looks like a Mungus.
Brute Bonnet, yeah.
But they're all dark type
because it's poison.
Yeah.
We do get to flip the script once again. Finds 1 grass at least and some shoes.
That's good. That's good. You could do a lot with those shoes.
But thinking through, what is our plan for attack here on this turn? Cinchino again has to be dealt with.
I mean, do you want Slitherwing here?
I suppose knocking out the Cinchino is good enough for now because Lugia can only do 220, which isn't the 240 it needs.
Yeah.
So they would need in 2/3 cards to have something like... I guess it would have to be Blood Moon Ursaluna if they wanted to get a knockout that turn. But it might be okay for now to just remove the Cinchino from the equation. And we have even a backup Raging Bolt to start getting set up.
No boss's orders here. Do we no, you can't. I mean, like, you have the fighting in hand, yeah. So you do that, you knock out the Lugia V.
No, you have to. I think you have to get rid of the Cinccino. Yeah, because otherwise it just swings back for another 2 prizes immediately.
It's impressive, but what is this dig for? I mean, Slitherwing is not going to get the active attack with, so that's the prize map uncovered. What is so important to discard all these resources for? More Sada? Stability in case of an Iono?
The Sada is important.
I mean, it's already a backup Sada. That's interesting. Choosing not to bench the Raging Bolt in hand to get the double attach. That's actually...
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Oh, no, that would have been a misplay. Oh, that's unfortunate.
You can always even just attach the grass and then remove it.
Exactly. And every energy on board is another one you don't have to discard.
$140 enough to take out the Cinccino, at the very least. But gift drawing 5.
Oh. I like the way that they conserve the grass energy. Someone might be tempted to discard both grass energy and be done with it. But this option means that even if there's another threat charged up, Raging Bolt, either one, can still be useful. And that if you need to pivot somehow to Ogerpon, you have one ready to go. And it's a really good retreater with Prime Catcher. Yeah.
So we're setting up the Lugia, which perhaps means a boss is coming.
I would expect that. Yeah, that's the downside of leaving the energy on the Ogerpon. That's a lot of jet energy. And not a lot of hit.
Jet is usually the least helpful to have in hand in these later states.
True enough, and it's not control, so...
Because there's a lot of situations where you need to put things... You need to start building up on the bench, and a jet would kind of ruin that. Yeah, if we boss up one of these Ogerpon... Oh, the bird is even better, That's right. No more flipped scripts.
That bird's been baked. Although you do have Night Stretcher. So you could bring back the bird.
More importantly, you get 2 prizes, and you set yourself up for a Cinccino KO next turn. Or just another boss on an Ogerpon.
Yep. I mean, that deck is looking real thin. Just for reference. I mean, the problem here is that you need to set up so that an Iono doesn't control the rest of your game. And you could slam down energy everywhere, but you're 3 prizes behind.
I think missing that the early turn where we kind of whiffed on finding energy has really made this game very, very hard for Thiatzi. There was the Night Stretcher for 3 more cards.
The bird brought the stuff.
Palpat and Sadas. We have a couple more draws. Or just the Iono.
You gotta bring the Sada back. That's just so essential. Now, am I wrong here for thinking it's a good idea to use either the catcher or the prime catcher to get rid of the Cinccino or the Minccino?
Yeah, that would definitely be good. Because then again, it would have to be the bear to one-shot a Raging Bolt back. That's a good line.
Plus, it brings you down from 5 to 4, so you can get back into 2 KO range.
Again, with that though, then you have even a Lugia 2-shot is way, way, way more possible in that case as well.
It looks like we're gearing up for a Prime Catcher play. That's not the sort of attach you make if you're not planning to Prime Catcher.
It is probably.
Well, you're not
We'll
gonna-
check out the Lugia.
Yeah. What's that about? Oh, it doesn't have a. Well, neither of them had a gift energy attached.
The V-Star does, but yeah, the Minchino doesn't. You're right.
No, the V-Star does, but the you're right. You're right. Of the 2 targets I was looking at, there aren't. But of the 3 possible targets, there was.
So hoping that the Iono to 2 is enough to buy a turn or 2. Still pretty scary with the Minchino on board. This is super
risky. With no Sada in hand and very few left in deck, you could end up stranded this next turn.
Oh, we do have Sada in hand. We drew it.
Oh, wait, there it is. It blends. It's all the bling.
The fancy looking one.
There's the Squawkabilly.
The bird, way too late.
Unfortunate.
So we are going to set up more energy on this Minchino in preparation for its evolution. We only have 3 cards, though, so there is a chance of... Oh, they drew it. Okay. Game's done. Simple retreat into special roll. Iono to 2, unfair stamp to 2. It's always a lie.
Yep. Get out of here. See, this is what I'm talking about. If you had knocked out the Minchino, then your one-hit KO options are limited.
It certainly was a hard decision either way. But that will be Alex Hamilton moving on to finals. 2-1 victory.
Lugia into Charizard.
Historically favored. But in this new world of Dust Noir and all sorts of tricks, we'll see how it happens.
I mean, the other cool thing we have going on is that both of these decks were, at different points, the king of the format. But now they're, not quite washed up. But are they still in?
Let's hop back to casters real quick. Here we are. Okay. So yeah, that was our top 4 match. Again, top 4, huge. Still a very good run from Tiatsi. And I think Koiwashi and no... Oh, okay. There was some fuddling around with the bracket, I see.
Happens every time. I don't know why. It seems to happen every time.
Let's see what's happening with our pairings here. And it looks like the North America wave just started, so that might have been why.
That explains. Oh, there's a ping in the events staff channel.
Gotcha. So that might be it for us. We might never know how EU ends. Looks like nobody else can be streaming the finals, but we get a wonderful look at this online meta recently. And the NA wave has just begun, so there will be some more Pokemon later on to watch. Any final thoughts of the tournament, Mick? What do you think?
I mean, we're still in the casters channel, right?
Yeah.
Are we live? We've been live this whole time?
We have.
We've been streaming this whole time?
Yeah. Look at that. What do you think?
It's the conclusion. So I think, quite honestly, very few thoughts at any given moment.
Okay.
But I am looking forward to seeing who wins.
Lots of Charizard. What do we think about that?
Charizard making a resurgence is not a huge surprise. Now that Regidrago has this massive target over its back and everybody's building decks that beat it, Charizard no longer has the boogeyman of Kyurem to worry about, and so more of them are creeping into the conversation, and it's a super strong deck. It just happens to have one big Achilles heel. It's not a surprise it made it this far.
Yeah. And people, again, perhaps getting prepared for next set release with Briar impending on the horizon.
Oh, yeah. There are lots of comments about Briar from the usual suspects. I think it's a good card.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the game that just ended in like 2 turns right after the Charizard Gardevoir activity? Briar has decided we need to go faster than that.
Even faster. Faster and faster.
Heads will roll. Granted, that's not the worst thing with this new tournament structure system for big regionals. Ties are now terrible.
Yeah.
Might as well be losses. So speeding up games is not the worst idea.
We'll see. It seems like it'll be an interesting card to figure out when and where. There's going to be a lot of uses for it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of complexity too with the timing of it. It says it's when you have 2 prizes left, so you understand that it's an endgame card. But because of the way that Dust Noir operates and how much you can skip around the way prize numbers work, you have to be thinking about it as soon as turn 2, maybe even turn 3.
Well, we will see all of that fairly soon once Stellar Crown releases. For now, there is a Lugia in the finals waiting for whoever might get up there. But there is going to be a little bit of break. We're going to have some more Pokemon on here in about an hour or so. And then later on tonight, the NA wave of Late Night with Koopa and Yubel.
Oh, that's so exciting. I love watching them cast.
Yeah. So don't go anywhere. Keep tuned into this Shuffle Squad YouTube. My name's Nate, here with Michaela. It's been a blast. We'll see you next time.
Been a good evening. See you, Europe. Well, that went well.